Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Really good, thanks.
What are you doing here today?
We've come here to meet two Australian MPs who are come to support Julian Assange's campaign not to be extradited against the extradition to the USA. So we've come to support them and to support Julian like we do many times.
Right.
Belmarsh prison here.
Right.
The parliamentary group comprises 14 crossbench members in the Australian Parliament, and I think it's around 14. And Andrew Wilkie from Tasmania is the head of it, co-chairing it, with George Christensen, and who's from the Dawson Electorate in North Queensland.
Right. And so is one left wing and one right wing? Is that?
Well, apparently so, but George has liberal views, small L liberal views on this issue, the freedom of the press, which is basically at the heart of this case.
Yes, it's fundamental, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Whether you're left or right.
It is, that's right. It's actually an issue that everyone should be following, and everyone should be supporting us and Julian's campaign, WikiLeaks, because this could be the end of freedom of the press and our freedoms as we know it.
Yeah.
As they say, first they came for the journalists, and we don't know what happened after that. So it's an issue that we all should really, really be, activated by.
Yeah. So you're anxious at the moment?
Really anxious, because from all indications, the judicial system in Britain hasn't been just to Julian at all. Let's face it, he's been held for 10 years in one form of detention or another, ankle tags, locked up in the Ecuadorian embassy with asylum, being booted out when the IMF gave a loan to the new Ecuadorian government, like a bribe it seems, to boot him out, and then from then on in prison. And no charges. Until 10 years later the American CIA comes up with some charges of espionage, and with a sentence of 175 years resulting.
Yes.
To be tried in Alexandria, Virginia, which is the home of the CIA.
Yeah.
So you can see how unfair and unjust this whole thing is. The war criminals are free, but Julian told us about the war crimes, and he's the one in jail. It's so unjust, it's incredible, and it's really saddening to see our system being subverted like this and perverted by the American war machine.
There is one charge of hacking. Can you comment on that?
No, I don't know enough about that, but I don't think it's sound.
Well, I've heard that it's a normal thing that journalists do to help protect their sources, keep their anonymity.
Yes, and let's face it, WikiLeaks developed the first form of Dropbox, secure Dropbox, for people to be with whistleblowers to put information. Now we use a form of that in our everyday lives. If everyone could research the history of WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, you'd realise he's a brilliant, intelligent human being who had a non-profit model for free press and has now been tried to be cut down because the man doesn't want him.
The New York Times, Washington Post, Guardian, etc., El País, they published all this stuff as well. Why do you think that they're coming down on the little organisation? Do you think it's because they don't have strong unions? If the size of WikiLeaks has got something to do with their vulnerability? And should small and independent news organisations be more worried than the large ones?
Perhaps. It definitely is a test case for all journalists and all news organisations, though. And because Julian's was an open source, not profit-making really, but model, that's a threat as well, because they can keep money talks, and they can bribe the big news organisations to do the bidding.
Well, that's right. It's more of a hierarchical structure, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah. You hear fake news all the time.
Try telling an Australian what to do.
Exactly. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Oh, can you just tell me your name?
My name's Alison Mason.
And you're from
I'm from Australia.
Yes.
I'm from the North Queensland Electorate of Dawson.
Yes. And I thought you were part of some kind of group here.
From Julian Assange Defence Committee, part of the grassroots organisation to support and defend Julian's rights.
Yes.
It's the most important thing in the world today.
And you've come the whole way here from Australia.
That's why, because it's the most important thing in the world today. I believe in acting upon principles and standing up for what's right.
Yes.
And if you really want to have what's right happen in the world, you need to make it happen. You need to get your feet on the ground and come down here for the hearing week of the 24th of February in Belmarsh.
Thank you.